Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Scaling Brokerage Podcast. Today, Ty has been kind enough to bless us with some of his time. So I'll kick it right off to Ty. I'll let him tell us a little bit about himself and his business.
Well, hello, Jake. It's Ty Counts with Apartment World and Monarch Real Estate Group. I'm a real estate broker for the last 30 years, and I do all the things that normal real estate agents do: buy, sell, list, all that. But my specialty in Houston is that I'm kind of the rental guy. So I've helped 18,000 renters in the last 27 years. And so if you were moving to Houston and you typed in, I need an apartment, I would probably be one of the top 5 or 10 names that would come up for sure. So excellent Yelp reviews. And anyway, I do it at a very high volume.
Awesome. Hey, wonderful, wonderful. So tell us a little bit about how did you get started in real estate? When was that?
Okay, so my mother was an apartment locator going back to like the early 70s. And when I was a child, let's say I was 10 in 1976, that's what my mother did. And I had no interest in being in that business because, nobody wants to be in the family biz, right?
Right.
But I went off to college. I got my degree. My mother wanted me to become a real estate broker, even though I wasn't in that field. And it was the funniest reason ever. She was a charismatic Catholic and she believed in the rapture. And so she wanted me to get my real estate broker's license in case she was raptured. Okay, so I'm not kidding you. Like I'm a broker because my mother was afraid that she would be swept up. Okay. So anyway, I found it a little insulting because I thought, well, wait a minute, like you're going to make the cut and I'm not, I'm, left behind. Anyway, so
like send the money up too.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Yeah. Do I owe a referral fee? How does that work? Anyway, but I'm glad I did because back then becoming a broker was very easy. I mean, like I'm almost not joking that, you put a quarter in a gumball machine and then your broker's license came out. So anyway, I'm glad I did. And then, so for many years, like 15 years, she would renew my fees and I would have to take classes every 2 years, but I really was not in the business. And anyway, in 1998, I had a series of some really horrible bosses because, we don't quit jobs, we quit bosses. And anyway, I had a few horrible bosses. And so I called my mommy and I said, hey, do you think I could do this apartment locating thing? And she was like, well, that only took 15 years. Okay. So anyway, the first year I did it, I doubled the income that I was making as a degreed accountant. And that was shocking that was even possible. And so I'm happy to report for the last 27 years, apartment locating and the general real estate career has given me a 6-figure income. And anyway, you would think you make more money selling houses and less money on rentals, but the volume is so high and it's so consistent in good times or bad. So anyway, that's how I got in the biz.
Absolutely. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's a very unique. I can't say that I've ever heard on any of the podcasts over your unique start into the industry. That's awesome. That's awesome. And one I know, went through the market crash in 2008. We went through, COVID just a few years ago, NARS, all things in between too. How have you been able to navigate some of the challenges that, we ran into it along the way?
So my mother always told me that being in real estate was like being a farmer, and there would be good years and bad years. There'd be years of rain and years of drought. And so I think the secret sauce is that I live on less than I make, and I always stick a little back for an emergency. So, for example, after Tropical Storm Allison, nobody moved for 6 months. That was a horrific event in Houston that caused $5 billion worth of damage back when $1 billion meant something, right? And then 9/11, nobody moved for months. People were in shock. We had a Hurricane Harvey, Hurricane Ike. So anyway, there are these shocks that happen in the system where, people freak out and don't want to move. Now, what has always happened to me is that I've survived, right? And so maybe I had 100 competitors, and then after Tropical Storm Allison, it went down to 60, okay? Or maybe I had this many people in the industry, and then they couldn't handle that shock. So anyway, long story short, the way I've been able to navigate it is I just sort of think of it as, you're gonna have good years and bad years, and it's, commissions come, it rains or it's drought, and, you just kind of tuck a little back.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you can never be too certain where the market's going. We always think we kind of have an idea and a gauge of where it's going to head. But no one's ever for certain on it.
Yeah. And also it's a roller coaster. So like, for example, in 2008, 2009, there were some real opportunities for people who had good credit and a little cash. The condo I'm sitting in right now, that's when we bought it, was in the bottom of the recession. When things are really pumping, like during COVID, we had 70,000 people move to Houston in the first year during COVID. Put that in perspective. I think Super Bowl Sunday is like 80,000 people in the football stadium, 85,000. So we had that come into Houston in the first year. So in that time, my phone was ringing off the hook. Now, sort of an interesting countervalence or counterweight to that is that when the apartments get full, sometimes the commission rate goes down. So you're doing a higher volume at a less percentage. Sometimes when things are crappy, the volume's down, but they'll pay a high commission to get a new renter. So I don't know, it all kind of
evens out.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And I was going to ask, because I know we're in Phoenix, Arizona, so we kind of saw a similar uptick. I don't know specifically how many people, but I know just from seeing the license plates driving around, saw California, people from Colorado, moving all over, coming to kind of, get some more, freedom in a sense, and the fact that, we didn't shut everything down, and, there was still, still could go out, and a lot earlier, at least too, than, after everything was shut down. So yeah, I know that was a big selling point. People like, man, if this ever happens again, I don't want to be stuck in my home for, whoever knows how long. And
also, we don't have state income tax in Texas. And so we're kind of heavy on the property tax side. So if you're a renter in Houston, it's kind of a deal, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not paying a state income tax and you're not paying property taxes, at least directly. You pay them through your rent, but and then, part of my job is to explain what things cost. And so if you're open to it, I'll kind of tell you my little pitch I would tell anyone coming to Houston.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I tell people, and this might be a little saucy and controversial. I tell people, apartments are like prostitutes. If they're young and pretty, they cost more. If they look like Beyonce, they cost more. But if they're old and ugly and look like Medea, I don't know if you know who Medea is, but she would be cheap, right? And so I explain to my renters, especially if you're from a different town, like if you're from LA or New York, where rents are $3,000, I'm hearing it's kind of a deal. So I tell people that your rent's made of three things. It's based on the neighborhood, it's based on the square footage, and it's based on the age of the building. And so my little secret formula, not such a secret now that I'm on this podcast, but is that if you take the rent and divide it by the square feet, you can take away 70 cents. And the number that drops out is kind of the quality score. Okay, so it takes into account all three things. Rent divided by square foot, that's the size, minus 70, let's say that's the neighborhood, equals the quality, and let's say that's the age. So let's say you came to me and you said, hey, Ty, I have a budget of 1,500 and I need 1,000 square foot tutu. And by the way, I'm using 1,000 square feet, so the math is easy, and I need that in my life. Okay, so 1,500 divided by 1,000 is $1.50, and we take away 70, we get an 80. And if you got an 80 in college, that would be sort of a C plus, B minus. So in Houston, that would be an apartment built in the Reagan years, no washer dryer connection, not a crappy neighborhood, but let's say, it's okay neighborhood, not the best, not the worst. Okay, so that's possible in Houston. A 2-bedroom for $1,500, each roommate pays $750. Great if you're a student or not making too much money. That's totally reasonable. Okay. Now, let's say you come back to me and you say, oh, hey, Ty, I've got to have a washer dryer. My roommate and I have discussed it. We're not willing to compromise. What if we give you a budget of $1,600? Well, $1,600 divided by $1,000, 60, take away 70, we get a 90. Okay, B plus, what does that mean? Well, probably built in the 90s, early 2000s. All the appliances are there, including the washer, dryer, fridge, dishwasher. No granite, no stainless steel, just a nice B plus. Like yesterday's A is today's B plus, okay? And again, good neighborhood, totally doable. Now, let's say you come back and you say, oh, Ty, it turns out I'm super bougie and I gotta have the blingity bling in my life, and I need fancy. I'm a fancy dude. Oh, okay. So probably then we got to go 1,800, okay? And I would say 1,700 being $1.70 minus 70 is $1. You would think that'd be 100 and A plus plus, but it's really not. That's more like an A. And then the only way I can explain this jump, because my chart's kind of linear, and then at the end it kind of goes like that, is that when rich people see granite, they lose their mind. And they literally can't, they say, open their wallet and they say, take my money, okay? So there's some jump between $1.70 and $2 that's the best of the best, like great neighborhood, granite, stainless steel. Now, rents can exceed $2. And if you're in a high rise, it's going to be $3 a square foot. But this kind of puts the onus back on the renter that, hey, you can have whatever you want. And if you pull back your square footage, maybe you drop that second bathroom, maybe you can get a better apartment and still be kind of cheap. Like maybe if it's 1,600 divided by 850 square feet. So
yeah, I understand.
so you get what you pay for. It's like that old thing. You get what you pay for.
Absolutely. No, hey, and I previous to being in real estate, like still almost a year and a half ago now, I worked at a repair shop. So I definitely know the old adage, you get what you pay for in terms of, service, parts, all that stuff. It goes into almost every industry.
Yeah, in Mandarin, I speak a few languages, and in Mandarin they say "一分价钱一分货," 1 cent good, 1 cent price. And so sometimes, like, I'll have clients who come here. Our medical center is huge. We have like 30,000 employees in our medical center, and also students come to Rice or the University of Houston, and they want to save money because they're students, and they say, hey, I want a high quality $600 apartment. And I say, 一分价钱一分货. And they're like, ooh, 5,000 year wisdom, like it's like kryptonite. Oh no. And so anyway, it's fun to throw that at them.
I love it. Well, and kind of jump into the marketing lead gen side. Do you do anything to market yourself? Do you do anything to get yourself out there, or get the word out there to other agents to come on?
So initially, 27 years ago, I would do anything. Like I would send out postcards or advertise in magazines, or I would try everything. What I found was that my best referral sources were people I've already helped, right?
Oh yeah.
And so I'm kind of jumping forward in my career a little to one of the biggest moments for me was that I got a few people from Yelp, and I had never heard of Yelp.com. That was a mystery to me. And but anyway, I helped them like I help everybody, and I must have done a good job. Like, I spent about an hour on the phone with the client, hearing what they want and producing the list and I'm a matchmaker, And so anyway, I must have done a good job. Well, those Yelp clients wrote Yelp reviews, and let's say 3 to 5 customers brought in 10 to 20 new Yelpers. And then those Yelpers Yelped. Okay. Yeah. And so I'm not kidding you, that one little thing might have boosted my income a third the next year. It was amazing. And I wasn't even paying Yelp. That was just organic reviews, and that was amazing. So anyway, that was good. I now actually, full disclosure, I'm on an advertising program. It's not a whole lot, but I pay a little to get up there. So reviews are really important. And I'm of a generation where maybe it wasn't so important. It was more, word of mouth, your friends, and now, the younger folks who tend to be my renters, tend to be, people, let's say under 40, they really rely on reviews. So I think that's huge. Personal referrals, I'd say about a third of my income is just clients I've helped before or their friends.
Yeah.
So, you build it over time.
Yeah, and keeping those bridges up, from working friends, family, working with new clients, keeping that bridge up with them. You never know who they're gonna bring across. Their family, their friends, their colleagues. Maybe they're new to the area and they don't know much, so they look you up online and they see the Yelp reviews, and then now we got the starting of building the bridge.
And then also, here's just one little pipeline that I have that may not apply to all real estate agents, but because I focus on the rentals. And I've done it for nearly 30 years. I mean, 2028 will be my 30th year in apartment locating, which doesn't seem that far away. But those young people grew up, right? Imagine I helped someone when they were 20 and now they're 50, right? Yeah. So I've been in it long enough that now they want to buy a house. Now they're first-time buyers. Now they trust me and they want to navigate home purchasing. So I've helped a whole little generation who now they have their own kids, right? Because I've done it long enough. Just to create that pipeline that whether you need to buy, sell, invest in rental property, buy your first home, I basically do everything other than commercial. So I tell people, unless you need to buy a shopping mall, I can't do that. But other than that, I can do almost anything in real estate.
Great, great. That's wonderful. And that's very helpful too to have, and as a team or as running the team, running the brokerage. It's very helpful to have that, being able to come to you when needed. Let's dive into the agent attraction side of things. Are you doing anything right now to leverage, getting in front of agents, helping them out, in the industry, anything like that?
So, funny enough, I don't advertise any of that. I probably have about anywhere from, let's say, a little less than a dozen to a dozen agents at any given time. I happen to pay 90% to the agent from $1, which I think that's high for the industry average.
Absolutely.
I have no desk fee. And again, I don't advertise, but agents who maybe are really at the top of their game and they're giving too much percentage to their broker, that's a great fit for me because I don't have to train them. They've got their marketing thing under control. And I do think, hitting on the marketing, and I keep talking about farming, and like my mom used to think of this like farming, right? Is that your leads are the seed that you need to plant. And in my own case, and I don't know if I should reveal my internal numbers, but typically I at least about 1 out of 7 to 1 out of 8 people I talk to, right? So I need to talk to 8 people today to get a deal, right? And that's just because people don't move or they renew their lease, so they didn't get the roommate or the job didn't come. There's a lot of reasons why they don't lease that have nothing to do with my skill. It's just, some people move and some people don't.
Yeah.
So I think the number one reason agents fail is they don't have those leads. They're not talking to enough people, right? And like I have a new agent right now, and she is really scrappy on top of it. All the things that I don't know how to teach, like grit and schmooze, and she's got all that. But what she needs is leads. And so what I told her was, look, do this. Number one, every client you have who's looking to rent, put them in your car and drive them to 5 places, right? You'll learn your properties. They'll get that personal service, and you'll make contacts with those apartments. Great. So, and then hand them your business card and say, hey, if you have someone you can't help, send them my way. Like maybe y'all don't have to wash your dryer. Maybe you don't take a big dog. Maybe you don't have 3 bedrooms. So I think that's the number one thing, that if you can figure out your marketing strategy, which is different for everybody. I mean, maybe you're in a big church or a synagogue and you know a bunch of people, or, maybe you're in a sorority or a fraternity, or maybe there's an alum thing, but everyone should know you're an agent. And my mother, God rest her soul, she passed in 2009, but she said, don't be a secret agent, right? Don't leave the house without business cards in your wallet or your purse, right? Like everybody should know what you do. And your email address should be, blah, blah, blah at mycompany.com, not a Google, not a Yahoo, but, so people know what you do, and that'll bring you business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, and email definitely, sometimes that's the first way that people contact us or able to get in touch. So that email, having that, the handle of our business, our company, can also be a great reminder for them, who we are, and how we either, can help them or help, help any prospective, anyone, family, friends, all that fun stuff. Nice. And so I know you mentioned, always about a dozen agents or so. Have you ever looked in any different ways to attract more agents too, or has it always just been kind of organic as you've gone along?
It's always been organic, but here's what I'll tell you, that where I'm a little different, and I don't need to throw any brokers under the bus, but let me throw my mom under the bus because she can't defend herself. She was kind of the queen bee, right? And she loved being the broker, and she didn't really want to do deals. She didn't want to talk to prospects. She did that for many years, and she felt she had evolved to be the broker, right? And that's fine. And back then she got a higher percentage. So if she had 12 women in her office, and again, I don't mean to sound sexist, but at the time, this was kind of a female dominated industry. She would make a cut off all of them, and she did great. Okay. Yeah. But for me, my income is my work product. It's the deals I get, the leases and the sales that I get. That is the vast majority of my income. And then when my agents produce, I just take, 10% of whatever they did, and so I don't really count on that as my income. So I know that's not a normal broker thing, is that you're at the top of the rowboat, and you expect all the other agents to row, but you're just telling them where to go. And in my case, I'm doing the vast majority of the work. Like my phone rings off the hook, especially in the summer. People tend to move in the summer. So May, June, July, August, I can make half of my annual income in like 120 days. So my agents, they they pay for my vacation or they pay for the little extra thing, but I don't count on them for my income. Which is great because I'm only in charge of myself, and I'm a workhorse. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. And let's explore a little bit into the future. Kind of where do you see yourself headed, yourself personally, and then in your business as well? What's kind of the next step?
So, good question. So, my partner and I bought a home in a beautiful town called San Miguel de Allende. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. You probably never heard of it.
No.
But Google it, San Miguel de Allende, Allende. It's one of the most beautiful places on earth, and I've been to 42 countries. So I feel very qualified to say I've circumnavigated the Northern Hemisphere, and this is one of the loveliest places on earth. Anyway, so I want to spend more time there. We have our residency, so we can be there, without any worry of visa expiration. And because of what I do,
where's that at? Is it like down?
Mexico.
In Mexico. Okay, great. That's fun. My parents are wanting to do this, to move out there for 6 months and then kind of come back.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll hook them up. Okay, like we'll give you the family price. Okay.
Oh, nice. Well, I think I might already be a little too late. I think they have a lease starting in May.
Great.
They're ready to go. My mom's.
Well, we spend about 3 to 4 months a year there, and then we Airbnb it, right?
Oh, that's right. That's really smart.
Yeah. Anyway, so I want to spend more time there for sure. I'm probably on the end of my career, right? I'm going to be 60 in a couple of years. I probably need to work about 4 or 5 more years. But I don't know. That's my goal. I love to travel. Just got back from Hawaii for Christmas, and I'm heading to Brazil in March. And what I love about apartment locating, which is really not what most real estate agents are even thinking about, is that I can do it very virtually, right? I don't have to tour. I don't have to do contracts. I'm not having to open doors. The apartments all have a lease staff. So anyway, in my case, more travel, and just do what I do virtually, which, with technology, why not?
I love that. Yeah, and I know ever since we had the whole COVID, kind of everything shut down and had to be forced in the virtual space. It really opened up everybody. The buyers, sellers, agents. Everybody's a lot more comfortable on the virtual space now versus maybe in the years past. Maybe they were wanting to meet in person and sit down with
And it's very generational, right? So
yeah, that's true as well.
Yeah, and a lot of my clients, if you think about it, the renters of the world tend to be younger and less resourced, and the owners tend to be older and more resourced. So, yeah, it works out great. My average client's under 40 for sure, and a lot of 20 and 30 somethings for sure.
Oh yeah. No length of credit, can't get in the house yet.
Right. They're waiting for grandma to die to give them the down payment.
Yeah, one of the two.
Yeah.
But nice. So let's say we fast forward. Going into the future, few years from now. Where do you see yourself? Where do you see the company there?
So again, basically me paddling a canoe, which is fine. The downside of that, of course, is that I don't have something with residual income, like if I owned an insurance company or something like that. But as long as I'm paddling the canoe moves forward. So probably much of the same. And I just I can't say that I planned it out so specifically. I just do this when the phone rings, I pick it up. And assuming I can help them, like they don't have a felony or they don't have an eviction, which that's an incredibly problematic situation that I can't help.
Yeah.
But assuming that they're leasable, then, I just pick up the phone. And, I had a woman the other day, she needed a 2-bedroom for under $1,200, which is pretty low, but I helped her, right? I've got renters that are willing to pay $5,000 for a high rise. So I don't know. I just what's my plan? I'm just going to pick up the phone, and whoever I need to help that day, I'm going to give them the best service I can. And I think of my job kind of like as a coach. I'm teaching them, here's what things cost. Here's what you can get for your money. Here's for your budget, this area might be better, or you can afford this. So I don't know. I'm just going to pick up the phone and work the deal.
Love it. And some advice for some new brokerage owners. Maybe someone just starting out in the industry. As an agent or an owner, what would be some advice that you'd give to them? How would you recommend they kind of get started?
So if you're an agent, you've got to figure out where your clients are going to come from, right? And so marketing is everything. So, like I said, if that's your sorority or your church or your synagogue, maybe it's your neighborhood. My mother used to do this thing where she would have a recipe card, and every month she would farm a certain neighborhood, right? And so everyone in that neighborhood would get her recipe card that month. right? And again, kind of an old-fashioned idea, but this was the 1970s when there was no internet or cell phones or
no social media for sure.
I don't even think faxes existed back then. So
really?
yeah, so that's how she did it. But in my case, again, let's get off the house selling just for a moment and talk about apartment locating. I think you have to educate yourself. Like, I'm not just taking an order like at McDonald's. I'm a matchmaker, right? So someone needs a washer dryer. They got a 50-pound dog. The kid needs to go to a good elementary school, and so unless what am I selling? I'm selling knowledge, the knowledge to match them up. So I would say educate yourself on your product. And I think like part of the real estate canons, part of it is to be competent, right? So be competent in your field, and then figure out where your market is. I will tell you one little thing I did, which again, I don't do much in print, but I had an apartment complex. We'll tell you what an evil bastard I am. But I had an apartment complex that had dropped all their commissions, like some insulting rate from, let's say, a full month's rent to 25% of a month's rent. Just a really terrible thing. And I had sent this company business for 20 years. So what I did is I got all their addresses and I sent a postcard to every single renter at their properties. And I basically said, are you ready for a better rental experience? And I got a lot of customers out of their property. So I got a lot of business because I targeted a particular unfriendly apartment. So, which is totally legal, totally
legal. We've all been there before too, the kind of bait and switch of, the leasing agent maybe goes and shows you the apartment and everything looks so great. You go at, 10 a.m. when maybe everyone's at work. And then, coming back and moving in at 5 p.m. it's packed, can't find parking spots. It's, people partying out in the common areas, all that stuff. So yeah, it can definitely be a bit of a switch compared to, what maybe we see initially. But that's great. That's great and that's great for yourself and, and keeping that bridge up in a sense of like, hey, we set you up in here with, it was good while it lasted, but it's time to get you into something better now.
Yeah. Yeah. And in this case, these were not my customers. These were just, yeah, these are just random. Everyone who lived at that apartment complex got a postcard from me, right? And it paid off. I think I spent like $3,000 in postcards and postage, and then probably got maybe not tenfold, but fivefold out of that. So I don't know. Just figure out where your leads are. Like what is that? And if I were a brand new agent in Houston, Texas, I would print a bunch of business cards and I would go to every apartment complex, an A, B, a C, and a D in every neighborhood. And I'd hand out my business cards. Number one, I'm learning my product. I'm getting their leftovers, which if they don't have a match for a resident, giving them a business card is, we can't help you, but here, Susie can or whatever.
Yeah.
Just you got to shake the money tree, and
absolutely.
maybe that's oh God, here goes my cuckoo clock.
Oh, right at 10 o'clock here.
Well, it's noon here in Houston.
Oh, my apologies. Yeah.
Okay.
But that is great. That's great. Growing up, I think my grandparents still have it. They still have their old grandfather clock in the house. So it's nice to go. We'll go with it for Thanksgiving or Christmas, and it's good memory.
Well, this one is from 1770, so it's older than the United States, and it's called a farmer's clock because it rings so loud the farmer in the field can hear it, right?
Oh man!
And then just so you know what's going to happen is that 2 minutes later it rings again in case you didn't count. It gives you one more chance. So
in case you missed it.
In case you missed it.
Exactly. I like that because I'll think I hear it and I'm like, no, it can't be that yet.
Exactly.
Well, great. Hey, this has been incredibly helpful, especially I know we don't get a lot of perspectives from the apartment listing side. So it's really awesome, and it's really there's so many different avenues in real estate. Agents can't box themselves into one one niche. We have to be more I don't know, the words escaping me, but we have to be more flexible. Yeah, thank you. For some reason Malibu was coming to my mind before flexible. I don't know why, but yeah, we need to be able to adjust and really work with our client, work for them. Helping them find their best home, their best apartment, their whatever it is for them. We need to be able to do so.
Yeah, and whatever you need, come to me, right? And like I had someone come to me and they wanted a commercial deal, which I don't do any of that, but I have names of people who I refer to, right? So I'm your answer guy. You have any real estate question, you come to me. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, I'm not just here when things go right. Okay. If things go wrong, like your landlord's not doing the right thing, or, there's some issue, I may be able to guide them to the Texas Attorney General, the Houston Apartment Association. Like, if your landlord's not doing the right thing, then,
Take off.
There it goes. Time to bring in the crop. That's
Right.
Farmer Talk telling us to bring in the deals. So, but again, like what you said is true. Wherever the money is, wherever the need is, you're going to follow that. And so, when interest rates were low, I was selling a lot of houses, right? Then interest rates went up and I was doing more rentals. And then, when there was the crash, it was great for buyers and it sucked for sellers. So, sometimes you want to be on the list side, sometimes you'd rather be on the buy side. Not that you can pick. Like when someone calls, you're just going to work that deal.
Yeah.
But just hone in your craft, figure out where your customers are coming from, be competent at what you do, have a certain level of enthusiasm about it. And I don't know, real estate, I've done it since 1998. It's definitely paid the bills.
Hey, love that. And we'll let the people know too, Ty, where can they find you if they're looking to, looking in Houston, maybe they're looking to move there, find an apartment, maybe they're an agent in Houston or an agent moving to Houston.
Okay. I think the easiest way to find me would be my website, probably. It's apartmentworld.info. So apartment world singular, apartmentworld.info, apartmentworld.info. Or they can call me at 281-890-3888. Notice that number has a lot of eights because in Mandarin, that's a lucky number. It sounds like
really? It's not 7, it's 8.
Yeah. For them, the number 8 sounds like money. Like your pocket is your money bag, or your purse is a money bag, and that has the sound ba in it, and ba is 8. So
really?
If you have a lot of 8s, and I hand my business card to a Chinese agent, they're like, oh, most auspicious, like oh, so many 8s. So anyway,
you know a thing or two.
I'm ba yi ba jiu ling san ba ba ba. So anyway, for all the Mandarin speakers on this,
I love and that is very cool. I don't know that I've ever, at least anyone has ever said anything. I don't know if I've ever had anyone else that speaks Mandarin on the podcast. That was awesome.
Okay, I'll hit you with my tongue twister. Here we go. 4 is 4, 10 is 10, 14 is 14, and 40 is 40. Now the reason it's funny is 4 si and is shi, and 4 si, so si shi si, and 10 is up shi shi shi, and then 14 is 10 4 shi si shi shi si, and then 40 you say 4 tens si shi shi si shi. Okay, all together. Si shi si shi 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 si shi shi si si shi shi si shi. I give myself a 100.
That's pretty good. I wouldn't understand if you didn't tell me beforehand.
Well, you can show this to a Mandarin speaker and say like, hey, was he full of crap or was he really doing it? Okay.
Was he just pulling my leg?
Exactly. Well, it's recorded for posterity, so
I love it. And I love having different perspectives, and I mean, just learning some different things too as well. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ty, for coming out today. Really appreciate the time. Thank you so much. Again, everyone will have a phone number, website. We'll have everything linked down below. So if you guys have any questions or looking at getting to the Houston market, Ty's your guy.
I'll do everything but sell you a shopping mall.